Welcome to the Wed Pro Podcast, the show for wedding professionals and business owners.
Each month, we bring you top industry experts, business chat, and hints and tips to grow your business.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Roxy.
Welcome to the Wed Pro Podcast. Hi, hello everybody, welcome back to this week's episode. Hope you are all well, yada yada yada. How are you, Roxy?
Bonjour, bonjour. I am very, very well, thank you. How are you? Have you been up to anything?
Not really. Are the decorations up yet? Have you got any up?
Yes, they are. Oh my life. I've been trying to put them up for about 3 weekends, but finally, this weekend, they went up.
Nice. I've started with a few little bits. Yeah. I'm hosting this year, so I started, which is just giving me the excuse to just spend on not just all the food and the crackers and the crap that we're all going to have, but now it's given my brain the excuse that I need little tea light houses and Christmas trees in my kitchen.
Yes. And 15 little Christmas trees.
Yeah, but they do look good, and I get enjoyment from getting them, and we're working together tomorrow, so you will see. It does look nice, it looks good. I've started it.
I've brought some ribbon and I'm going to make bows to go on the tree.
So nice.
A little craft project this weekend, so I'm going to fire up the Pinterest, and there must be a little bit of a tutorial. Get my glue gun out, make some lovely gold bows.
I'd love to be able to make
trash.
I'd love to be able to make a stair garland because they're so expensive, but my stairs, I've got stairs that go on around on an angle, so the bit that you could see at the bottom is really little, so it's just going to look rubbish. But all these houses that you see that are beautifully decorated over that arches outside and stuff like that, it just makes you want to do it, doesn't it? It's very easy to get caught up in it all.
Oh, it is. What I did last year, I made door wreaths with my sister. Went in the local woods.
Yeah, I remember.
Cut loads of not the trees down, but cut loads of the ferns off and stuff like that. It smelled so beautiful.
Yeah, we don't have anywhere like that by us. But
I mean, a dog walker did look at me a bit weirdo, but I was like, well, I'm being sustainable because I'm just pruning the trees a little bit, and
our tree will probably go up maybe the weekend, perhaps. We'll see what the timing's like. We did look into that, the forest with all the lights.
Yeah,
doing that. But it is so expensive. I don't know if I can justify. It's like nearly £100.
Wow, no, don't do it.
I don't know if I can justify it. It does look really pretty. It looks really pretty, but I'm just thinking about my children and whether they'll just be like, oh, it's just some lights. Like, okay. I don't, because I've never done it. If somebody's listening and you've been to one, let me know. Is it worth it?
Wonderland of goodness, of lovely Christmasness.
The ones that, there's all the lights everywhere, and they light up the woods, and you go through different light illuminations and stuff. But you only get a kind of 45-minute slot, and it's done, and it honestly is £89 or something.
Yeah. For me, my kids get a bit bored with fireworks now because we've been to that many different ones. It's just once you've seen one firework, you've seen them all. But maybe go and
somebody might be listening and thinking, oh my word, it's amazing. If so, please drop into my inbox on Instagram, Wedding Business Hub, and let me know. And I might change my mind about it. The kids haven't said they want to go. It's just something that I've seen and always thought, oh, that looks pretty, that looks nice. But I was a little bit shocked when I looked at the price of booking it. I was like, oh, that's quite expensive. But my kids are now they're a little bit older in terms of we don't really do the Santa anymore because they just don't want to. I've got one that's kind of too old for that, and the other one she bothered. And then we would normally do the snow dome or something like that.
I loved snow dome. Snow dome was my favorite thing that I did. I loved snow dome,
but they're not bothered. So, or panto or something like that. But honestly, this year we've not really got anything like that planned.
Here's a little true story thing. When I was a kid, I went to panto with school, and starring in the panto were the Chuckle brothers, Paul and Barry.
Yeah.
And they gave me a toilet roll.
Oh wow, claim to fame.
No, I don't still have the toilet roll, but yeah, the end.
Wow. Claim to fame. I'm trying to think now what I've been gifted by a celeb. I mean, I did get a gift from
You maybe got a trophy from the now king. That just trumps
everything. I actually said, because we've had our office done, eventually had the office done after moving into this will be our third Christmas in this house. So we've eventually
trophy out.
I did say I think I need to get the trophy and bring it in, but it's like a dish. It looks like a satellite dish.
It looks
but
like
is this weird? Here you go. Is this weird? Let me know. I have never cleaned it. So it's got his fingerprints in it, and I've never wiped it. Is that weird?
No, I think it's going to be worth something.
No, I wouldn't sell it. It'll be real silver, and it'll be worth something.
My toilet roll from Paul and Barry Chuckle. That's not going to be worth anything. I'll tell you what I have got there, which you don't know. I've got Spice Girls autographs.
Whoa, that's all right. That'll be okay. Oh God, we're going to get into it. We found some first edition Harry Potter books that we had in the house this week, and I was like, oh, I think they're worth something. We've been having a clear out. Yeah. So all I've got at the minute, I've got a couple of letters from the palace. People that don't know us and are listening, tuning into this for the first time must think we're right weirdos. By the way,
we're pro podcast. This is what
we are. I've got
a little bit of gossip, a little bit of chat, but then we do jump into the juicy stuff. So bear with.
Yeah, I've got my letter from Clarence House, framed, where he's written my name very nicely.
Okay.
I know he accentuates the last letter. So when he writes his name, so Charles has got a squiggle underneath.
I wonder if, when it was on the TV and he was signing this thing and he was getting fuming with that pen. I wonder if he was getting fuming with the pen he wrote that with.
Maybe, who knows? But yeah, the trophy has not made it out yet. The little trophy has. It was just a trophy that I won, so I won a Midlands award, didn't I, for being a business enterprise award, and then I got to the finals and won the finals. So my Midlands award is out, but the big one,
that's the wrong one. You need to get the main.
It's like a satellite dish. It looks like a freaking sky dish.
And now you've had your office done and you've got all that beautiful shelving, all that loveliness. You need to get out.
I will. I'll take a photo and I'll somehow attach it to the podcast so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I did. My partner thought it was a bit weird that I'd not cleaned it, and then I wouldn't allow it to be cleaned. So if it comes into the office, it's not being wiped. So it's nice in the box, so it can't get dusted.
It's got a nice box as well as it. Yeah.
It has got a nice box, but that's the fingerprints of the king,
the actual king. It's so cool.
Anyway, let's get into it. So that's what's going on with us. We hope that you're well. We hope that you're looking forward to Christmas. It's not so long away now, and maybe having a little bit of a break, however that looks for you. Today we're talking all things time management, which is ironic, seeing as we've spent a good chunk of time talking about us on this. But we are now going to turn the focus onto you and how we can kind of manage our time as business people. Good time to do it this time of year as well. We've got, it's not just about kind of managing being a business, and maybe you're a parent as well, but I know for sure over the next few weeks our children's diaries are going to be jam-packed with things that you're expected to go to. I know my daughter's going to Panto with school, so I've got to go and drop her off at a different time, pick her up at a different time. They've got nativity performances that I've obviously got to go and be at.
I am very grateful for the WhatsApp school chat, because without that, I would be absolutely stuffed. I don't know my head from my.
I have to sync the calendar and write my reminders in my phone. But there's nativity performance, there's Christmas carol things, there's Christmas fairs, and all of these things, as well as running a business, as well as wrapping Christmas presents and doing all of the other things, hosting, etc. But not just about this time of year, but at all times of the year. Business owners, we typically do have quite a lot to juggle.
We do, don't we? And I think to begin with this subject, I don't know about anyone else, but I feel because I'm more of a creative person, I'm in a creative industry, I am not the best at being organised. I am better at being creative than I am being organised. So for me, it's always going to be a learning curve how to manage my time.
And how true, like, I'm sure like my parents struggled with this, even though I don't know how, because there was not as much on the TV, and there was not Netflix, and there wasn't, I swear there wasn't as much going on in their lives as there is in our lives, not just with Netflix and all of everything else, but just in terms of, I just think this generation has got crazy expectations.
I know, yeah. A lot of pressures from a lot of different angles.
But there are just never enough hours in the day. And, you know, as business people, how do we know how much time to balance in terms of how much time to spend on wedding lead generation, how much time to spend on marketing, how long to spend on our emails, then how to kind of take care of the needs of our booked up couples. And quite often we can go through periods of feeling overwhelmed or really time poor. But today we are going to share some tips and a few of the things that will help you get on top of everything and be able to kind of manage your time. Like, we've all got the same 24 hours, and it's kind of how we can kind of manage our focus, energy, productivity. So we're just going to be kind of talking all things practical tips so you can ditch kind of that overwhelmed feeling and start living life a little bit more organized and a little bit more structured, so that you can get the things done that need to be done.
Yeah, and structure is so important for that. There's nothing worse than feeling scrambled for time, because things don't get done correctly either, I don't think. So I'm going to take notes for my own podcast today. Okay, so I don't know, maybe the first thing that we should talk about is kind of planning for the week ahead. Does anybody do this? If not, this is something that I would highly recommend, is maybe on like a Sunday evening, just take 10-20 minutes, sit down and kind of work out what your week's going to look like, and then you can kind of go from there by like planning it out further. But I think planning your whole week is much better than going day by day.
And how do you do that? Do you literally say, what do you plan out your whole week, like hour by hour? How does that work?
So I suppose it would be, I mean, you could get really, really, really organised with this and plan it hour by hour, but I go on more like a time blocking kind of thing. So I say, okay, on Monday morning, I'm going to spend 1 hour, 2 hours doing X amount, doing this thing, and I will only do that work. And that gives you time to be, gives you a chance to be hyper focused on that one thing, rather than thinking about them 10,000 other things that you then know you need to do, which will get done, but you don't need to think about it. You're thinking about this one thing, and then once that's done, you can move on. Because I have been known to be very flitty in what I do. I'll spend 5 minutes doing that, then I'll think, oh, I know I've got to go and do that. So then I'll go and do that over there. Then I might go back to that thing. And it's I've learned that it scrambles my brain. I think quite a lot of the anxiety that I used to have did come from that. So I've really had to train my brain to be
at one focus, one time.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm quite good at like micro tasks. So any kind of small tasks that I do, kind of any social media scheduling I do for our socials, or if I am writing a blog, sometimes I work better with the TV on, or like background noise or something like that, if I'm doing kind of micro tasks. Or like a lot of the admin and the repetitive stuff that we all do inside of our business. So whilst recording this podcast, I'm also replying to a couple of emails, but I can do that.
I've just learned that if I do that, then I always find that I don't do the best job that I could have done if I'd given it my 100% focus, I feel, which is it's okay that you do it that way and I do it that way and somebody else might do it another way, but isn't it funny how like brains of people work in different ways? It absolutely like baffles me.
Yeah, for sure. But
I always find as well I like to put tasks off. I like to put the harder tasks off, and I'll do all the easy tasks on my list first. Right, else like all the niceness. But what I've learned and I've trained myself to do is I get the ones that I don't want to do out of the way first, and then I can focus on the nicer stuff after.
Yeah, that is good. I mean, we kind of have a rule as to like what we won't do on a Friday afternoon, do we? So like, and being self-employed, we get that option and we get that choice. So we will quite often book any kind of heavy client days, or structured days, or if people want strategy calls and things like that for kind of earlier on in the week.
Yeah.
So that kind of Friday afternoon, yes, we're still in work, but we're kind of doing those tasks where we can ease our brain up a little bit, and that helps us get into the weekend, doesn't it? Because we're not so switched on. And I think I spoke about this in a previous podcast as to how, like, I would be quite I went through a time of like needing to reply to people at, like, if the inquiry came in at 11 p.m, it didn't matter, I would reply there and then. Whereas in this business and in this, like, I'm so worlds away from that. I can actually put down my job and think, don't need to think about that, and I will not think about it until Monday. And I think when you're talking about planning your week, that's one way that we do it. But kind of those, like, any deadlines that you've got, or any kind of urgent jobs, you might work better like working to a deadline and thinking, oh God, this is coming up, I really need to get it done today. And there are things in our business that I know that we work better with that, like when we know that the deadline's coming up, and there is like a phrase, like, if you give yourself an hour to do it, you'll likely get it done. Like, I need to get this task done in an hour, and you'll turn off the distractions on your phone, you'll close Facebook down, close Instagram down, and you'll purely focus on that task.
What you were saying about, you know, how we wind down towards the end of the week, and I think a great tip here would be, actually, is that I think you can't be on your game like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and like keep, like, you know, going. I have kind of waves of where, okay, I know that at this part of the week, that's better for me to do this task rather than over on that time, or if I've got the kids, I won't do certain tasks, but then I will complete other tasks. So it's just about kind of being clever with how you manage your time, and what pressures you put on yourself as well, because there's no good trying to do there's no good me trying to record a podcast at 4:00 when the kids are coming in the door. Do you know what I mean? So because I'm not going to do a good job. Or saying that, I have got a kid off right now.
I think one of the things that I know we do like to-do lists, don't we?
I love a list.
But in terms of tackling that to-do list as well, like, one of the great ways in order to stop yourself procrastinating, or stop yourself taking on too much, or flitting between emails, answering inquiries, doing a little bit of this, doing a little bit of that, doing a little bit of ironing if you work at home, is like getting the to-do list out and thinking, right, how long am I going to spend this morning on emails? Yeah. And I know this is something that a lot of wedding professionals do, and also a lot of business owners do. They will dip in emails like 5 or 6 times a day. And would it be better for you to actually check your emails, say, first thing in the morning? That's what I do. And then like mid-afternoon, and have 2 specific times of the day that you are dealing with emails, so that it just doesn't constantly interrupt your flow throughout the day.
And this kind of goes back to kind of the podcast that we did last week, talking about, you know, you don't need to be responding immediately to every single email.
No, that's within a 24-hour period, and it's kind of a morning and afternoon. Or you're somebody that might be able to say, do you know what, I can just do my emails once a day, and then that's out of the way, and I don't have to go back into the emails until the next day. And that stops that kind of procrastination, and that kind of, you know, that time kind of spent flitting. So like, you were already concentrating on a task, and then you're like, oh, I'll just go and check the emails, or oh, I just need to go into the emails for this. And then you can get yourself into a rabbit hole where then you're kind of replying to an inquiry, or that's remind you that you need to do this for this person's wedding. Mm-hmm. But I definitely find that when I have a to-do list, I am more productive, and I tick it off and I get it done.
You can actually buy planners as well that I've seen in like Home Bargains, B&M, The Range, even like supermarkets do them, that are kind of hour by hour planners, which is great. And for me, it has taken me a while, you know, to get used to lists and planning and being organised, but I would not have it any other way now.
And I just like them, actually. So they're like really repetitive things, like, I need to schedule this on social media, go and write a blog, promote the podcast, answer like that inquiry on the email, pay this invoice, and they're like, they can be from micro tasks like paying an invoice will take me 10 minutes, right the way up to bigger tasks such as plan out and schedule our content for next month for our wedding pros or whatever it is. And then anything that can be kind of done really quickly, you can either highlight that a particular colour. So if you know that those kind of micro tasks, you can group them together. And
I write numbers.
like,
number one being the right, I'm gonna do that first, I'm gonna do that second. I'll just write them.
Yeah, so you can group your micro tasks kind of together, like any of the little tasks that can be done together, so that it's not a case of interrupting the big job that you've got to do for the day or whatever that could be. And then let's spend an hour on those micro tasks. So they're small little tasks that you can do, send invoices out, you know, pay an invoice, whatever it could be. It then leaves you more time to get on with the big things that you need to be doing. Or some of the things you might have a deadline for. So some things might be bigger projects, such as, you know, writing a proposal, or whether you've got to come up with like a plan for something, or you want to launch something, or you want to come up with a new offer, or whatever it is. We've got a big job tomorrow. We're going to be like planning out our year. So a lot of what we will be doing will be like making deadlines next to each thing, won't we?
Yeah.
And then that will help us create to-do lists going into the future. So if we've got things to do for like March and things that are launching in our business in March, it'll be right, what do we need to get done before March? Boom, 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 boom. Who's going to be responsible for that? But then what we want you to do is focus purely on that task. So block, this is how much time I'm going to spend doing this, whether it's 30 minutes, whether it's 60 minutes, whether it's 2 hours with breaks. But then only focus on that task, tackle that task.
That one thing, focus your complete mind. And I think that takes a little bit of brain training if you want used to working that way. It's almost like you have to pull your focus back in. If you can feel your mind thinking about something else, just say to it, you know what, I hear you, but right now we're doing this. And that is literally what I have had to do. And that is something that I've kind of learned from doing CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, is that the more you like squash those kinds of thoughts, the more they just like bubble up. So you've got to acknowledge, okay, yeah, like I know we've got to do that, but first I'm doing this, brain. So thank you very much. You literally have to tell yourself. And then slowly, it becomes a lot easier to do. It's a process.
Yeah, for sure. But I think, you know, time blocking really helps you because it stops your attention from spreading like ineffectively across like a multitude of tasks. Whereas actually, the idea is that by focusing on one thing at a time, you can dedicate like attention and energy to each one of those tasks and then perform them to a much higher standard and probably get them done more quickly than if you were kind of multitasking and having a few things on the go. So kind of to effectively time block, like you said, whether you have like a diary or whether you do it via a to-do list, like you have to kind of schedule the hours that you have available and then assign them to to-do lists in your job. So you won't necessarily just want to do the most important thing on the list first thing in the morning. You get to decide in what order you do things. You might be somebody that's like highly productive in an afternoon, or somebody that feels a little bit like sleepy after lunch, or whatever it is. You know, you get to decide where in your day that you do those things that require a little bit less effort, or the admin things, or the paperwork, or those sorts of things, and the stuff that you need to have kind of hyper focus on.
Yeah, I think, and to enable yourself to, you know, keep that focus, I think you've got to recognize what your distractions might be. For me, it's my mobile phone. If at that point I'm not needing to use my mobile phone, I will put it on airplane mode, I'll put it on silent, I'll turn it over, because my gosh, that distracts me. I'm like, oh, the phone's going. I think that's one of the downsides of our kind of day and age, is the technology side of things. It's just so easy to access it.
And then we make excuses for ourselves, like we work from our phones or our emails on our phone. Whereas actually, one of my favourite phrases is nothing's urgent. Like my emails can wait for an hour while I just focus on this one task. Or, you know, my sister that wants me to tell me about whatever's going on in a day, that can wait until I've finished, like until my lunch break, it can wait. If my phone like vibrates or flashes, and they are designed to do this, by the way, it's like psychologically designed, which is why you get that little notification on Facebook before you even go in the app, like that little bubble that tells you how how much is waiting for you, how many notifications you've got. It's all designed because impulsively, like it triggers like the curiosity part of our brain, like, oh, we need to know what that says, or we need to know like who's tagged me in something on Facebook, or I've got 20 Instagram notifications, oh, what's going on, or your phone's ping 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 on a group chat, whatever it is. Like, I know that quite often I feel the need to kind of check in and see what's going on. But exactly what you said is, it's like recognizing that. So whether you put your phone in a drawer or you put it on airplane mode, whatever it is, like take steps to eliminate that distraction until you can complete your task.
It's like a little reward. So when you have done your task, give yourself a little reward. If it's having a little Instagram scroll, go for it. Have a little stroll. I said it again, scroll. What's wrong with me? Reward yourself for that, because at the end of the day, you've got your task done that you need to have done. So now's the time to look. And actually, for me, when that happens, and I'm like, I need to look at the phone, and I haven't, and I've looked a little bit later on, I'm like, oh, is that it? It's almost like I don't need that fix anymore because that moment's gone.
Yeah, for sure. So it's just about like, and then over time, like good habits like that will become easy. Like I mentioned, like years ago, if I got an email or an inquiry, I had to answer it. Whereas now, like anything that comes in on a Friday or a Saturday and we're like signed off from work won't get answered until Monday. And I'm quite comfortable, like for us in our business that work.
Yeah, there probably was a time when we'd be like, oh, have you seen like the email, so-and-so's email? But now it's just like, wait.
Yeah, and then with us being two of us, and quite often we'll have like a messenger chat anyway, personally. Some of the time it would be like at 10:30 at night, we'd still be discussing work, or it would be like,
and that is not good.
No, that's about like recharging, isn't it? And like making sure that you're taking a break. But yeah, okay, be wary of doing too much at once. Running a business, like it's really common for people growing a business to have like loads of competing demands on their time, and especially all business owners, not just growing a business, but you know, we wear a lot of hats, don't we?
Spinning all the plates.
But like being busy is like really good, but it's just important to be aware that you can sometimes reach a point where you're tiring yourself out and not achieving the results to justify it. Like there is a difference between being stressed and being busy, and also being busy and being unproductive, and being busy and highly productive. So like having a good time management system where you like a block in time, or you have to-do list so that you can measure that, or like good routines, whatever that looks like for you, should help you relieve that stress and make things a little bit more manageable. And it might look for you as in like, if you start to block out time, or you start to write this to-do list, it might come to a point where you think, you know what, I need to get an admin assistant here, or I need somebody to kind of come and do some of these tasks for me, because there's so much. Like, we don't need to work in an age now where we need to work hard all the time. We can like work smarter, feel in control, and like work better for our own mental health as well. Like
100% from a personal perspective, working harder is not the way.
No, like I'm all for working smart. Like I would literally take 3/4 of the year off if I could, and still
exactly the same. Yeah, exactly the
same. And really look at how much you have achieved. Measure tasks on what you've achieved rather than how long it's taken you to perform them. So some tasks in business will be bigger than others. Like that's just fact. The end. Like they're going to require more energy. They're going to require more time, and others won't. But look at like how much you've achieved as well as how hard you've worked, and make sure you're getting like the positive outcomes that you deserve for the effort that you're putting in.
Are we really, really guilty of only focusing on the things that we haven't done instead of looking at the things actually that we have done and going, do you know what, like, okay, maybe I've not done that today like I wanted to, but look at all the good that look at all what I've done, look at the list, look at all those ticks.
Yeah, and that's right. And then thinking, oh, you know, I did good there, I'm gonna go and get a cup of tea and have half an hour off or whatever it is. But like to be able to just think, oh, you know what, I've actually done a lot today, And I know as well, I've been on the other end of that, where I've been really unmotivated, I've been like demotivated by work, I've not really been like feeling it, not been really good. And then I think, even though I have sat in front of a computer for like 6 hours today, I have hardly done anything. And then other times I can like put the laptop away at lunch and think, do you know what? I've got everything I needed to get done today. There's nothing pressing now. I'll kind of take the afternoon off. And
yeah, that nice feeling where it's like, is anything else urgent today? No. Okay then. But yeah, I've been the same, where I've been like frantic in work mode, and then actually when I look back late that evening, when I've like come down a little bit, I think, what the frig have I actually done today? What have I achieved by getting into that kind of frenzy?
I think yeah, sometimes, I mean, some people work better to deadlines, but then sometimes, if that's pushing, it can be difficult, isn't it? But I suppose a lot of this as well, and this is my second business, so a lot of how I run this business is different to how I ran the first. But in this business, there are systems, there are processes, aren't there? And the first business was very much, when we need that, we'll get it. So we didn't even have an ordering system when we first started the shop.
Yeah, we did, and then it was like, oh, okay, I think it's time to create an order form now.
Yeah, we need an order form, we need a system for ordering things, and we need like a system for this. And we would just kind of like run by the seat of the pants kind of way, didn't we? And then we'd kind of put the system in as we needed it. Whereas with this business, this is our second business, very much we were like, right, what's the end goal? What are we going to need to achieve that goal and make that goal easier? Rather than having to remember all the bits of information, or having to write it down, or not having a process for this. So I think because in this business, and that's probably why we have a much better work-life balance, to be honest, because there are systems in place designed so that we don't have to work harder. Like if we didn't have things to write down, or we didn't have things that went out automatically,
we'd be screwed.
Yeah, honestly, like we even have like lead generation sort like done on automatic for some things, don't we? So that it's like, right, okay, we don't have to physically do that every single day. But that's come from a process of learning. And if you've got things in your business that you think, oh, do you know what, I can systemize that. I know that it seems hard work to get it done. I know, because I felt it myself, and I felt, oh God, in the time it's going to take me to systemize this, I could have got it done. I've been there. But from experience, I'm so much more chilled in this business, so much like don't have to juggle as many plates, don't have as much on, don't have to constantly remember everything, because like we've got those systems to kind of either do it for us or catch us when we have that moment where
So I think kind of the final note, and then probably one of the most important things in all of this, is you need to take time to recharge. If your batteries are running on empty constantly, your productivity is going to be almost at zero, or you're going to be doing a naff job, basically. You need to look after yourself in order to look after your business.
For sure. And that can sometimes look like getting help out, like elsewhere, so outsourcing something. And it might not even be outsourcing something in your business, it might be outsourcing something outside of your business, such as like, could you have a cleaner come and do the cleaning, so that
I've got a cleaner now.
That takes, and now how much time are you getting back by not having to clean your house, that you can then invest in doing the things that only you can do inside of your business? Or it could be somebody doing kind of the office admin, or your social media content creation, or the techie stuff on your website or sales page, whatever it is. Like, you have to make time for growth. So if you're so busy like doing things inside of your business, then you won't be able to grow, and then the overwhelm of doing everything will just suck away like your passion, your time, and your love for your business, really.
Go and check out episode 40 around kind of outsourcing, and if you think you're maybe it's time for that, because I did a little bit of an episode on that not so long ago, so go check it out.
So like you don't even have to take on anyone full time. Like quite often these can be kind of freelancers, so there's no like long-term commitment. I mean, we have like a couple of freelancers that work in our business, don't we, Roxy, that takes up tasks we can outsource. They're not things that we physically have to do. Like, our client work we physically have to do. If we are strategizing for a business, we physically have to do that. If we're strategizing for our own business, we have to do that. event planning, we do the bulk of that, don't we? But some of the kind of admin tasks that we physically don't have to do, we outsource it, and that gives us time that then we're able to make more money by, you know, not having kind of all of that creativity sucked out of us, and having that room and that headspace to be creative and to think of ideas and to go after new clients or whatever it might be.
Having that mental strain and that mental pressure lifted is a great feeling. It's an incredible feeling because it enables those creativity juices to come back and flow again. If you're not in that stress mode, you can be in creative mode.
Yeah, for sure. And let's say like the average booking value for your business is 1,500 quid. Let's say that. Now, if you're doing tasks in your business that you could pay somebody like 10, 15 pounds an hour to do, but you're doing those tasks instead of growing your revenue, then by spending that like 10 or 15 pounds, that then frees you up to attract and convert more of those 1,500 pound bookings. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And the like 15 pound an hour tasks, loads and loads and loads of people can do. But that kind of booking, making that booking, that only you can do that.
Only you.
So have a think about what you could get help with as well, and think of it like, you know, that is time management. That's effectively kind of like being time effective. Like you get a few hours back from having a cleaner, don't you, that you can then kind of spend on things that only you can do for the business.
And I think it's really, really important, if you're kind of going down this route, to have a little think about the things that you can do, that you love to do, that only you can do, and then the other things maybe you could get help with. One of those things might be content creation, and that is something that we might be able to help you with. Isn't that right?
Yeah, there's like, yeah, whatever. And even if it's not in work, like having a cleaner or, you know, a gardener or somebody to come and walk the dog for you, whatever it is, like that just then frees you up. Even if, you know, some of the time you just take that time for yourself. So some of the time you take those 3 hours that you've got a cleaner and you think, do you know what, I'm whacking The Crown on. Can you tell that's what I'm watching at the minute? That's what I'm binging.
Did you just keep referencing The Crown? I am watching it. I'm watching The Handmaid's Tale as well.
Nice. And taking that time to recharge, which is super important. But in your working day, especially if you're somebody that works in front of a screen a lot, we do this. Little and often breaks is the best way. I think there's some kind of statistic out there that says, I think it's even like government data that says that you should be taking a screen break every like 5 minutes every hour. I mean, I suppose that's quite hard to keep on top of, but let's say if you did like 3 hours, taking like a good 15-20 minutes where
have a little lunge around the living room. That's what I do.
Is that what you do?
Have a little sketch, have a little wee.
I mean, I just go make some lunch, but Roxy's lunging away over there. But by having breaks, you actually are better able to focus. You know, it gets to a point where you can't retain information, or your level of work won't be as productive. Everybody will have different limits, but you will get to that point. And it just helps you feel a little bit more refreshed, a little bit able to come back to things and say, right, I'm able to kind of sit down now and focus on that. So don't be afraid to take the foot off the gas, you know.
No. Like
chilling and resting is making way for like the zones of genius that are coming up for you. For sure.
I like that a lot.
They're kind of our tips on time management, not getting overwhelmed with things. And we're big list writers, aren't we? We're going to write the biggest list ever tomorrow.
So many notepads.
So many notepads
everywhere. So another little tip is maybe have a couple of different notepads for different things.
So I would love this tip actually. I'm constantly rooting around in notepads.
Yeah, I'm like, where's that I wrote down? And I'm looking for it and thinking, nope, I can't find it. So that's that. Then that's gone. So if I was a little bit more organised, we could have like notepads for different parts of the business. So little ending tip there. But yeah, that is it for today. It's been a lovely one. It's been great.
It has. Nice. Thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't reviewed our podcast yet, please leave us a 5-star review. It really helps our podcast out, and it helps other people to find us too. So if you've heard something today or on a previous podcast that you have found helpful, please leave us a 5-star review. If you are wanting to come on and talk to us on the Wed Pro podcast, you can get in touch with us at thewedpropodcast@gmail.com, or you can hop into our Facebook group, The Wedding Business Hub, and let us know that you'd love to be a podcast guest. Let us know what you'd like to speak on, and we'd love to have you and love to discuss whatever your area of expertise is, and deep dive into that in terms of helping our listeners out too. And if you are at home thinking, oh girls, I wish you would do a topic on whatever it is, please let us know. We're always kind of wanting to kind of bring you relevant content, bring you the things that are going to help you inside of your business. That's why we set up our business. That's why we started a podcast, or like 3-4 years ago now. But we want to give you the things that you need in your business so that you can make your business grow easily. So if you're at home firefighting something or struggling with something and you want us to take on that topic, drop us an email. It's totally anonymous, and we'll pick up that topic, and
we will.
We'll either find somebody to talk about it, won't we? Or if it's in our area and we can take on the topic, we'll do that too. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode.
Tell all your friends about us if you love us. Yes, we shall leave you on that.
Yes, share us on your social media. That would be lovely, actually. If you could share us on your social media, that would be absolutely fantastic. Help other people to find us. And yeah, thank you. Have a lovely day, everybody, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.
Bye.